Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakarisha Sarvada. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Swami Narayanaya Namo Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Welcome to SwaminarayanSpirituality.com. This is Sachin Karnik. This is the second talk on the problem of addictions and the solution to this problem as per Vachanamrut, Garada Pratham, number 11, Vachanamrut. To continue from last time, we're continuing our exploration of the actual solution given by Swami Sajanand Ji Maharaj. Before we go into it, I want to offer my prayers and respects to all the sages, all the devotees, and to the Supreme Lord for blessings. And to all of you, please accept my deepest affection and respect. So with that, as we stated last time, the problem of addiction has multiple dimensions, multiple facets. Last time I touched upon the tolerance effect problem. I want to go further into additional difficulties that do occur in the addiction problem. And then, of course, the solution given in Vachanamrut and the teaching of Sajanand Swami, or Maharaj as we can say, and in relation to the lives of the great sages present today, in the past, yet to come also. So this word addiction, this is an English word, it has many meanings, it has many facets, and it is experience, it is anubhav. When Maharaj is using the word bhog in Vachanamrut Garada 11, the word bhog is of extreme relevance. Bhog is experience, but it is enjoyment. It is experience that is enjoyment-laden experience. We have all kinds of experiences in life, but when we are experiencing that which we call bhog, called Vishaya bhog, see that experience is direct, it is first person, it is personal, and it is memory-laden. There's a lot of memory created with that. But as we go forward, we want to be able to perceive the experience for what it is. The perception of the experience for what it is as it is really the question about the structure of experience. So when Brahmanand Swami asked the question, Vasnanu shu rup che, the word rup, if you were to really look at it, how do you recognize it? How can we know it? But if you look at it in another sense, rup means form. If you want to see something clearly, like a physical object, there has to be enough light. Then you have to see that object from all angles, top, bottom, left, right, up, down, everything. And then one can perceive that object very clearly. Similarly, vasana is not a physical object. It is an internal experience. So that internal experience needs to be seen for what it is, needs to be realized for what it is. And the utilization of energy within that experience. So in our Energy and Excellence program, we talk a lot about energy and its utilization, because that is the basis on which all experience is occurring. There's no experience is possible without the presence of energy. So that energy that is being used within Vasana can be utilized in another way. And that's the whole point in the Vachanamrut. Although Vachanamrut Pratham 11 is not directly using the word Shakti, the Shakti is implied inside this. In the word Bhog, energy is already implied. So that energy that is utilized by Vasanas, by desires, to create the experience that one is looking for, to satisfy the desire. Whatever the desire might be, we gave so many examples last time. There are so many, endless number of examples. Whatever the examples may be, whatever the desires may be, the satisfaction of these desires is sought after, which really is an indication that one is seeking a completely satisfied permanent state. Is that not so? If desires come up, what is it that the person wants to do with any desire? Doesn't matter. It could be desire for food, water, clothing, sexuality. It could be an addiction, desire for drugs, alcohol, gambling, pornography, all that stuff, shopping. Whatever the desire may be, what is it the person wants? person wants to satisfy the desire through the experience of the object, the Vishaya, and then get to the point of satisfaction. So the goal is not the object. The goal is not even the experience, actually, although it may seem that way. For example, someone who takes alcohol has an experience provided by the alcohol. That experience is compelling and sought after. But that experience leads to, depending on the quantity of the experience and the quality of the experience, it can lead to a state of satisfaction of the desire where the individual says, I don't want anymore. Isn't that our experience with food, let's say? With food and with clothing and with so many things in this worldly experience, we have a very nice, tasty meal. So we enjoy that meal. But then after some point, we say, that's enough. We don't want any more. Even if the server brings you more beautiful, wonderful dishes, you say, I can't eat another bite. We've all had that experience, that I cannot eat another bite. Now, what does that mean? That means that experience has a certain limitation, that the experience is not continuous. It is a wave. It is like a wave on the ocean. The experience has a beginning point, it has some peak point, it has a drop point, and then it has a point of satisfaction. Now, the level of satisfaction is dependent upon the way it has been satisfied based on the experience what one is seeking. That's what is meant by Vasana. When Maharaj is saying that, that the past experiences are sought again and again, because those experiences are sought because of the first person direct experience, direct sensation, enjoyment, and that is sought after, and that is perceived as joy when it is not. It is a neuropsychologically generated phenomena called Vishaya Sukh, the pleasures obtained through the senses, but they are short-lived. Does that mean we just deny them and all that? No, it doesn't mean that. It means to utilize them in a certain way to enhance devotional practice, to enhance connection with the higher reality that is Bhagavan. That is the whole connection here between the question of Brahmanand Swami and the question of Muktanand Swami. These two saints have asked so many important questions, and these two questions are of relevance because it is a transition from Vasana and the energies that are used inside desires of all kinds to taking that energy and using a limited amount of experience from the world of Prakriti, and then using that energy that is available for bhakti, for devotion, for taking all of that power and generating a force of vasana that is generating a force of desire to realize God. So it is one desire. In the opinion and perspective of Shriji Maharaj in Vachanamrut, he is never saying that to have no desire of any kind. In fact, in one of the Vachanamrut, later on in Vachanamrut, he has mentioned that if someone says that they don't want any desire of any kind, even to please God, leave that desire also. Leave everything aside. Then he said that the mind will become tamsik. It will become dull. It will become inactive. You will not be able to do anything at all. You will not want to do anything at all. So someone says, I don't want to have any desire of any kind, just to get to zero desire state. In the opinion and perspective and realization of Maharaj, he's saying that is not advisable because that will lead to tamogun, tamas. And this is a matter of experimentation. Try and living this life without any desire. See what happens. Generally, we have so many desires for the worldly experience. Maharaj is saying in Garuda Pratham 11 to bring all those desires and to take all of the energy in all the other desires, pull it away from there and roll it around and create one desire to please God, to realize God. Bhagavan Nivasna. You see the language that is used very clearly. It's in this Vachanamrut. Maharaj is very, very clear. He says, to reach that state of ekantika dharma, to reach that single-pointed devotion, that higher consciousness, that pure love for God. And this can be in any tradition. How is this to be done? It is to be done when there is no other vasana than God. So The actual question was, how do we recognize an ekantik bhakta? What is an ekantik bhakta? That was the question. Ekantik meaning one who has a single-pointed devotion towards Bhagavan. Ekant means single-pointedness. So Maharaj answered that question in Gujarati. He said, "Jene Bhagwan vina biji koi vasna na hoy." That means he's putting it in this way: one who has no desire other than to please God, other than to realize God, other than to connect with God. That's the only desire. Meaning to have only to come to that state of that one desire only. Now the question will become, how does that happen? How do we do that? How is that even possible? Is that even advisable? Somebody will say, wait a minute, if I start doing that, how am I supposed to live in this world? How am I supposed to live in this life? Well, with my family and with other people and with my job and with my career and with this, how is a person supposed to live in this world when you've brought all of your desires only towards God? Well, actually, if we try to do that, then the relationship with the world becomes very beautiful. Then the relationship with the world becomes non-frictional, simply because it is activity that is done without any kind of an ego-driven, ego-laden drive that one is trying to get something from this world, trying to compete with people in this world and stuff like that, to bash other people so that one can progress. None of that occurs. One performs one's duty, one performs one's activity in the material world as a karma yogi, but never gets stuck in the material world at all. Utilizes the material world's energy for devotion. The material world is a mechanism to realize God. It is not a place to be stuck in at all. And that realization is massive. That's a huge realization. Now, but somebody will say, wait a minute, the people in the world are living with competition and all different kinds of, bashing each other and trying to progress and all that. The whole economy is based on that. It's on trying to progress financially by competing with others and whatnot. Yeah, so if you're running a business or if you're having a job, there's always competition in the world. That's why you need good education. We all need to be able to live in this world in a way that we do not get stuck with the ignorance and the problems of this world. It's not that the world is a problem, the world itself is a problem. You see the difference. The Jagat, it's not that the Jagat has problems. We say the world has so many problems. That's true, but there's a greater truth. The world itself is the problem. So this world will actually disappear in enlightenment when we leave the body. So that's what Maharaj has mentioned, that when you leave the body through Archi Marga, by the grace of God, you go outside the material kingdom, the material world completely, and go into the kingdom of God. Go into Akshardham, go into Golokadham, into other states of realization beyond the material world. You see, so this is one of the most relevant teachings in Vachanamrut by Sajanand Swami, that he is not simply trying to make people more comfortable in this world, although we need to be comfortable and stable and sane and all of that, so that we can live in this world without problems. That's what the Shikshapatri is about. But at the same time, his real destination is that one transcends this material world and doesn't come back into it again. That is moksha. So to realize that, one has to not get into a cyclical trap of vasana. The vasanas are cyclical traps, and the addiction problem is highly cyclical. It is repetitive, it is appetitive, it is cyclical, it keeps repeating again, it comes back again. That's what Maharaj is saying, that whatever is experienced in the past, given some time, that desire props up again. Why? Why does it prop up again? Well, it props up again because it's been experienced before, and the main reason for it propping up is because the individual has not discovered the fountain of joy. That is called Anandakanda, the root of joy, the fountain of joy. That is God. The realization of God, the experience of God, the oneness in devotion with God, with Bhagavan. That realization allows for the dawning of nectarine bliss. when one is infused with nectarine joy, then one is not going to be running after this worldly things. The vasanas will not have any power over the individual. The vasanas exist because we have not discovered that actual pure fountain of Ananda. It is called Ananda. God or Bhagavan in Vachanamrut is called Ananda Kanda. Kanda means root. The root of where joy comes from. That is Bhagavan Swayam. You see, so God is that root. Now, when we recognize and accept this point, that's a big thing. To even realize that, that's a huge thing. So, to realize that the root of joy is where we need to keep our attention, rather than getting into all of the ripples, which are mixed with pain and pleasure. You see, so the experiences of the world are far disconnected with God, although they exist because of God, but they are not that actual experience of Ananda. They are a mixed experience within the three gunas of Maya, Satvik, Rajasik, Tamsik, and a person is trapped within that, caught within that, bound by vasanas. So the bondage of vasana, the entanglement of vasana, the slavery of vasana is to be recognized head-on. That is why Brahmanand Swami is asking the question, what is the form of vasana? To see it directly for oneself is what is the initial stage. Initial step is this only. That I as an individual, me as an individual, need to see myself clearly that what is the form of vasana, vasana nu shu rupche. That vision is one's own vision and probe. Because when one looks within, through bhajan, bhakti, kirtan, manan, chintan, all of the sadhanas that are shown, and lives of the sages, how they have lived, particularly that is a most relevant point. The enlightened beings that are called Satpurusha in Vachanamrut, whoever they are throughout the world, to recognize how they are living, what is their life, what is their state of realization, and the biggest thing in recognizing enlightened sages is that they are not trapped in vasana. To see that truth, one might say that, but does one see it? If one has a great saint as a guru, can we see that state? And then that state is me. That state is me, not these vasanas, not this running after the drugs and all different kinds of external stimuli that are going to damage my body, my mind, my finances, my energy. It's going to damage everything. For what? How much damage is a person willing to go through? People who are addicted to these substances and whatnot, they will damage everything for that addiction. I myself treated, I don't even know how many people with that, hundreds of people over the years in the past who were part of my practice, and I was working with other organizations, and that nobody has a real solution. Everybody's just stuck in just trying to manage the problem, and the problem keeps cycling again and again, and just energy and money are just being funneled. Millions and millions and millions of dollars are being funneled in trying to deal with this problem, but there's no permanent solution anybody has found. You see, but the solution isn't this Vachanamrut. Vachanamrut is a solution to this problem of addiction, definitely. This one Vachanamrut only. Other ideas are all interconnected in here. So when Maharaj is saying that to recognize what is vasana meditatively, to be aware of it, it is called choiceless awareness. From the point of view of J. Krishnamurti, from the point of view of Buddhism, and many other mindfulness programs, it is called choiceless awareness. In Vachanamrut, that is called Janpanu. Janpanu means awareness that, oh, this is what it is. I can see that this is the nature of vasana. That's what Brahmanand Swami is asking. Recognize what is vasana. Recognize what is desire. And recognize its form particularly. See the structure, function, form, activity, how it functions, where it comes from, what it does. All of that needs to be looked at within oneself. But we look at it within oneself through the sadhanas that are prescribed, through the devotional practices and other meditative practices. It gives us an opportunity to see the truth within. You see, that's what the question was about Maya in Garuda Pratham 1. What is Maya? Maya is that which obstructs you in your meditation, dhyan on God, on Bhagavan. So So when one begins dhyan and meditation and bhakti on Paramatma, on in any tradition, any religious practice, everything that distracts us and takes us away from that is Maya. And that vasana is nothing but Maya. It's expression of Maya. So when we recognize that we are getting into a diverted state away from our goal, that is Dheyo Narayano Harihi, that is God, who is the Paramatma, that is the goal. When we are diverting away from that, we recognize, oh, this is Maya. And that is obstruction. And then, with that recognition, what to do next? Recognition is like 50%. Choiceless awareness and these ideas are 50% of the solution. But what is the actual thing to be done? That's where the Muktanand Swami's question comes into play. He's asking, who is an Ekantik Bhakta? Why is he asking that question? Because Muktanand Swami knows that when there is Ekantik state, realization of Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti, the four major attributes, once they are combined together, the devotional practices, the Vairagya is the state beyond attachment, detachment. Dharma is righteousness. Jnana is spiritual wisdom. So when all four are together, what do we have? We have what is called an Ekantik Bhakta, a devotee. The question is about Ekantik Bhakta. Ekantik Bhakta means one who has Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya as a support and as a protection for Bhakti. Bhakti is the state to be in. To be in a state of bhakti, unbroken bhakti towards God, through the krupa of gurus and sages, by their blessings and by their guidance and whatnot. What is it that occurs? There is an unbroken connection with the chosen deity, Ishta Devata. That unbroken connection is called Ekantik Bhakti. And to protect that bhakti, Dharma, Jnana and Vairagya are the support to protect this bhakti. So when Muktanand Swami is asking this question, Maharaj, who is an Ekantik Bhakta? Maharaj is answering the question in terms of these vasanas, which is relevant to our question of addiction. But I just want to make sure we all understand what is meant by Ekantik Dharma or Ekantik Bhakti, or what is known as Bhagavad Dharma also. You see, so from the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vasudev Mahatmya and other scriptures, Shriji Maharaj's tendency and personality was to extract what the best that is there from everywhere. That's the kind of person he was. That's the kind of Sadguru he was, in the form of a Sadguru. That's the type of spirituality that was within him. He extracted what was needed for moksha from everywhere. So, Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti, he loved this idea. And that this is everything for him. So he says that I want to propagate this. In fact, in another scripture called Bhakta Chintamani, Maharaj is called by Ekantik Dharma Pravartak, Sajanand Swami. Ekantik Dharma is this Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti is called Ekantik Dharma. Pravartan means what? Who propagates, who introduces, who encourages individuals to become established in these four principles, Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. And that is called Ekantik Dharma, meaning Dharma doesn't mean religious affiliation. It means this type of a life that one is living. It is a Sad Acharan. Dharma is Sadachar. Sad Acharan means right kind of activity that will lead to liberation. That is called Dharma. So, Dharmagneyo Sadachara Shruti Smriti Prapaditan. That is the definition in Shikshapatri. So, this Ekantik Dharma here is referring to Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, and with that foundation, with the protection of Bhakti. So, Bhakti, what does Bhakti do? What is Bhakti? Bhakti is love for God. Bhakti is connection with God. Bhakti is getting lost in God through bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, establishing a relationship with God. This, by the way, this idea of establishing a relationship with God, this is one of the most central tenets in Christianity. And you will find that is a big, very similar, or if not nearly identical idea with all of the acharyas on the devotional side in Hinduism, in Sanatana Dharma. So Shriji Maharaj is very much in favor of this idea to establish a relationship. In Gujarati, we say, in Gujarati language, it is called Bhagwanni Sathe Sambandh Jodvo. Jodvo means to to connect, to bind together, to tie together. It's like that. It's a Jodan means it's an interconnection. It is a bondage with God. So one to be bound in devotion. And this is the idea, right? So devotional practices are where the devotee is more and more and more from one's heart is surrendered at the feet of God. This is bhakti. So whether that is Vaishnava bhakti, Shiva bhakti, Christian bhakti, Swaminarayan bhakti, or any other guru bhakti, or any other Ishtadevata bhakti, Devi bhakti, doesn't matter. Bhakti means to surrender, and it actually means love. Bhakti means love for God, but it can be done in many different ways. It can be a surrender at the feet of God. It can be a loving relationship. It can be a very, very glorious relationship. There's so many ways that the relationship is established. But it is to establish the relationship because, now we go back to the question of addiction, people who are addicted to substances or pathological gambling or pornography or stealing or theft or whatever they're doing, all of these kinds of activities have a relationship. One cannot deny that. There is a relationship there. So that relationship has quite a bit of intensity due to the force of vasanas. All right, so now what do we do with that? So Maharaja's answer to that is a very beautiful and clear answer. He says, start establishing the relationship with God. Now, does that happen instantaneously? It doesn't happen instantaneously. So people in recovery from addictions need to realize that this craziness in the mind of trying to find instantaneous gratification is part of the disease of addiction. Everything is instantaneous. Like you take the example of a heroin user. The person shoots up heroin in their arm or snorts it or however they take it, and then they instantaneously experience the pleasure, the high, the escape, whatever it is. Take a slot machine, for example. Somebody puts a $5 bill in and wins thousands of dollars. It's instantaneous. That desire for instantaneous experience, what does it do? That instantaneous experience generates that high. In Gujarati, it is called kef. It is a high. It is a high that is generated by the primitive function of the brain, the primitive brain, the lizard brain, the triune brain, the primal brain. So that limbic system that is within the brain, that's where this addiction lives. So that primitive area is stimulated. Now what do we have? Now we are reverting back into animal state and below animal state even. So you will see people commit crimes. They commit terrible acts to sustain their addiction. This is why the problem of vasana is so severe, because it is a problem with hyperactivation of the primitive brain. See, so that is why in Shikshapatri Maharaj has shown this progression from the animal level to the human level, from human to the devotee, bhakta level, from bhakta to the mukta state. So any human being who has a human body, if they decide that they want to be liberated from ignorance and from pain and suffering and addiction problems and all kinds of pain and difficulty that comes, which is going to be there. It's not a constant happiness inside this material world. If someone says, I want to discover what is that pure joy, and want to go towards that in the right direction, then the path shown in Shikshapatri, these topics that are discussed in Vachanamrut, are of extreme importance for the whole of humanity. Vachanamrut and Shikshapatri are for everybody, for every human being. They are a manual, they are a guideline, they have solution inside there for all kinds of human problems. All right, so that's a little caveat there, just a little statement about both scriptures. So now let's go a little bit further in this. As we are examining what is bhakti, bhakti has tremendous power. Where is that power in bhakti? It's within us. If Sachin is a bhakta, and bhakta, I may be a bhakta, but am I ekantik bhakta? That's a different matter. I can say that I believe in God or I'm devoted to God, but ekantik bhakta means it is, as the Bible would say, love thy Lord with all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding. So with all your heart, all your energy, all your intelligence, whatever you are establishing the relationship, and there is love. And in that love, there is greater and greater experience that opens up. So let's be clear about this point. The individuals who are stuck in addictions problems, they are trying to open up a dimension where there is pure joy. But they're not going to be able to open that dimension through these endeavors that are addiction related. It cannot open that door into pure joy. What will happen? It will close that door into pure joy. And it will open this door into lower consciousness because of the hyperstimulation of the brain that is occurring with regards to the utilization of the drugs and whatnot. That there is more running after the euphoria and the pleasure experience, and the intensity of that experience keeps increasing. So a person runs after that. See, let's put it this way. A person who drinks hard liquor, well, why do they do that? Because the experience is much greater than drinking just a regular beer or whatever. So that's why sometimes people drink these shots and whatnot, because they're trying to get to a certain state of mind through that. And they want that state of mind. There you go. But what is that state of mind? It is an experience of disinhibition. It is an experience of freedom. Quote, I'm putting that in quotation. It's not real freedom, but it's an experience where the mind is not holding any kind of burden. So look at that. There's a glimpse of something that is real freedom. There's a glimpse of a state beyond tension and worry and stress. That is what is really sought after. Well, Maharaj is saying, and other acharyas have also stated, that the true devotion will give you that, but it will give you the right form of that, not the wrong form of that, not a form of it that is going to distract and distort and cause damage to the mind, and also reduce energy, and also create more and more desire for it later on. Because the desires increase the more we enjoy them. That is called tolerance effect. This is written in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in many other places. The more we experience these addiction-related problems, addiction-related activity, the desire for it increases. That is called tolerance. It's like trying to put out a fire by pouring oil inside there. How in the world are you going to put the fire out if you do that? It will keep increasing. It will keep growing. You see, so it doesn't lead to liberation. It leads to energy damage, leads to psychological damage, brain damage. It leads to the brain getting diseased. And there's a lot of trouble in that. So the cure for addiction, if we want to use that language, is ekantik dharma. Dharma, Gnan, Vairagya, Bhakti. This is a cure for addiction. Now, I don't think anybody's ever put it that way before in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya. Maybe they have. I'm sure people have, but maybe not in more technical language. That when a person starts to go towards recovery, real recovery from any addiction has to do with taking the energy that is used by that addiction and applying it to greater purpose. In Vachanamrut is saying the highest goal is God. But in addition to that, other things that we can do for the humanity, for society, are all connected with that. And that is part of dharma. So it is all connected together this way. So anyway, as we're moving ahead in this Vachanamrut, Maharaj has mentioned very clearly that bring all desires into one desire. Bhagwan vina biji koi vasna na hoy. Now, how do we get to that point that there is no desire except God? That sounds very nice. That's easy, good to talk about. Does it actually happen? Can it happen? And what is needed for it to happen? You see? So here's one simple example. That why does a person buy a lottery ticket? Because they want to be free in the world. They want to have millions of dollars and never have to work again, and they can buy anything they want, and what they want, freedom, right? So that's very unlikely that a person will win that. And even if they win that, they may get bound in other ways. But when a person has true devotion, when a person really has true devotion, they become free from inside. The freedom comes from within. The freedom comes from within, and that freedom from within is experiential. Then whatever one may be doing in this world, one feels more and more. One opens higher and higher truths. So one is becoming rich from within, rich with devotion, rich with realization, rich with truth, rich with higher contemplation. It is an internal richness that one begins to have. And what does it do? It destroys addiction at the root. It's just as a person who is, let's say, living in a homeless shelter and takes $1, maybe they have only $5 with them, they take $1, they buy a Powerball lottery ticket and they win that. Immediately they go from severe poverty and homelessness to a state of multimillionaire. They won $300 million. They go from one state to the other. They jump from one to the other. Isn't it so? This Vachanamrut is teaching this kind of a jump. You're trapped in vasanas and problems and whatnot. Okay, take a quantum jump, a dimensional jump into ekantik bhakti, dharma gnan vairagya bhakti. Just jump into that. Don't think of anything else. And once you jump into devotion, into jnana, into wisdom, into studies, scriptures, into satsanga, respect of the sages, and just when you're absorbed in that, by the grace of God, by the power of the divinity, this vasanas and all these things will automatically subside. But now you will see that a person is ekantik if one stays in that devotion. Otherwise it is called a prakrut bhakta. So in Vachanamrut, again, two types of devotees are shown. There's ekantik bhakta and there's prakrut bhakta. Prakrut means that one who is still attached to all these worldly things and then is also doing devotional practices. This is called prakrut bhakta. But ekantik bhakta is a different matter. So get into that state of ekantik bhakta. Utilize the same energy, time, effort, mental power that was used for addiction. Take all of those abilities and put them into devotion towards God. And once you do that, once a person does that, with the protection of Jnana and Vairagya and Dharma and help of 12-step groups and help with the family, get assistance from wherever you need. But the assistance is there to the extent that one can attach towards God. One can have this relationship, and then one begins to experience from inside greater and greater wisdom, greater truth, and the need to run after the 5 sense objects, the Panch Vishayas, that decreases substantially. In fact, the objects are very, very minimally utilized. One lives in a very pure, stable housing and good place, filled with devotion, recognizes the nature of the world, is not hating the world, recognizes it for what it is, has a certain relationship with it, but time is not wasted. Time is spent in bhakti. Vyarthaha kalena netavyo bhaktim bhagavato vina. This is the big teaching in Shikshapatri, not to waste time. Time management we talk about, time management we need, but we also need to recognize that time is the greatest commodity, greatest precious resource we have. It's not a commodity really. It is a precious resource, and it is shrinking moment by moment. It never comes back. One's bank account may be increasing. One's health may also be getting better. Relationships and worldly development might occur. But the time that is in this world is shrinking moment by moment. Hence, Vachanamrut Garada, Antya number 30, Maharaj himself talked about himself. He said that he has complete vairagya from this world, from the whole sansar, because of the constant awareness, anusandhan, that at any moment, at any time, this body will turn to dust. It will be gone. It is going to go anyway. That realization, that awakening, that awareness that this can go, it will go in fact, and in fact that it will go at any point, then when we meditatively focus on this type of deeper awareness, one has vairagya. So he's teaching us, but he's talking about himself also, that there's a constant vairagya. And in that constant vairagya, that doesn't mean one is sitting in a cave and meditating 24 hours a day or running away from the home. That's not what that means. It means that one is living in this world with tremendous freedom and interacting with the world on the world's terms, but is very careful of how much interaction, with whom to interact, and not to get trapped inside any kind of interaction that is going to bind the individual. Hence, what is the word kusang? Kusang means what? That which is going to take one away from ekantik dharma. That is going to take one away from bhakti. That is called kusanga. And that kusanga is very dangerous. In people who are, maximum number of people are trapped in worldly experiences. So one has to be very careful who to interact with, how much to interact, have no negativity towards anybody. But one has to recognize that if one gets into these drugs and alcohol and just parties and things like that, where all of this high stimulation is going on, then what will happen? then one will be lost in that. One will be damaged in that. There are risks in that. For example, the number of people with these DUIs, they're sitting in prisons and they have ankle bracelets and the system has to monitor them, and there's DUIs, checkpoints, and look at all the mess, how much money and time and effort, everything is gone. It is there because in Shikshapatri Maharaj has said, stay away from these things right from the beginning. When you put the kanti on from a childhood, the children are given what is called a prevention shield. In Shikshapatri, in the satsang, when children are born in the satsang, they are given what is called kanti, and they are to stay away from alcohol, drugs, and gambling, and illicit sexuality, and never to go into that. If you go, so it is a relationship with God. It is it's an agreement that I'm going to follow this, and never even touch it. If a person never touches alcohol, they're not going to develop alcoholism, because you don't know. If you are an alcoholic, people who are alcoholics are alcoholics, many of them, before they touch the alcohol, because the addiction is already dormant, lying in the brain. It just is activated and expressed in a specific way. This is one of the brain-based theories of addiction. One of the brain-based theories of addiction is that it is already there, it is dormant, it is lying in the brain, and it is something that can be triggered by the exposure to a substance. So to never touch a cigarette, to never drink, to have even one drink of alcohol, to never make any bets of any kind, to not do that, because like in gambling, if you make a bet and if you win, then that experience you have. Now, it can also happen, people just start thinking about betting, and it's called mind betting, and then it can become active that way. That is why we're trying to promote prevention and open discussion and conversation about the experiences behind all these. Some people believe this is unrealistic. How can you live in this world without drinking alcohol? You have to go to parties and you have to do this and you have to... No, you can do that. You just because thousands of people are drinking alcohol doesn't mean you have to drink it. Just because people are pouring their bank account away into these horrific slot machines and table games and whatnot doesn't mean you have to do that. You see people there. You see the environment of these casinos and whatnot. What is that place? It is nothing but pain and suffering. That's all it is. 100% pain and suffering. Not even 99%. It's all energy of loss. The people are losing. Once you go in there, your mind and brain are connected with that negative energy right away. You see? Because it's all loss. It's energy of loss. That's what it's called. And if you go into a beautiful temple and or a very very spiritual meditative environment and go with some friends and whatnot, it's an energy of gain. It's energy of love. So energy of loss is where loss is there. People have it's terrible to lose money gambling. It's a horrific experience. And that experience is so terrible, person wants to stop that experience by gambling more, by putting more money to get their money back. So you're trying to win back lost energy. Well, first of all, don't lose that energy. But what is the desire? Is to win, and then to win more, and to win more, and to win. The desire is to open that door into ananda. The desire, every person with an addiction problem, or anybody who's even recreationally drinking or gambling or smoking, why are they doing it? Because they want that experience. And then those who are addicted, they want more and more of that experience, to the point where that becomes the whole and soul. That becomes everything for them. That consumes their life, because they're trying to open that door into pure joy, and that experience binds them. The vasanas are so strong that, as Maharaj explained in Garada Pratham number 11, they are so powerful that they bind the individual, and within the antakarana, the ichha, the desire, Maharaj said ichha varte. Ichha varte means what? It opens up. It keeps opening again. And it is a massive problem. You cannot stop it by any sadhana. It doesn't stop like that. So the solution is given in Muktanand Swami's answer. In Muktanand Swami's question. Muktanand Swami asked the question, Maharaj gave the answer. The three answers are there. Bring all of those desires and connect with God. Connect more and more with God. These other things will dissipate in time. They will diminish. But if you want it to completely diminish from the root level, you also have to consider yourself as the Brahman. I am the Atma. I am not these desires. I am not the mind even. I am not the mind at all, or the desires, or the content of the mind. That is not who I am. The content of psychological consciousness is not me. It is mine. It is something that is in the field of my experience. But that's not who I am. That's what he said, potane Brahmarup manvu. And in that state of realizing that one is the Brahman, believing that one is the Brahman, to worship God, and at the same time to be very, very aware of the fact that to be very, very aware of the fact that the force of desire can come about. If this force of desire comes about, immediately recognize it and connect with Bhagwan, and don't even give it any more force. This is the whole point. So not to give it any more force is really what Maharaj is saying here. He says कि ब्रह्मरूप मानी ने भगवान नि भक्ति करतो होय ते एकांतिक भक्त के. That means that what you consider yourself as completely free from the entanglements of the body, and in that freedom, in that state of freedom, perform devotion. Do not add fuel to the fire of vasana. Not at all. Don't add any fuel to that. Recognize it for what it is, because we've gone through it before so many times. There's nothing new there. So change its perspective. And if that force comes about, don't act upon it. Don't try to suppress it. Best thing to do, Maharaj is saying, do bhakti. Connect with the Ishta Devata, and that force will diminish naturally. And eventually a point will come where within the deeper recesses of the mind, the entire structure of vasana gets transformed from inside out. Bhagavad Gita says it very clearly. Vishaya nivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopesya param drushta nivartate means that a point comes by the grace of God that the Atma is realized, that that higher truth begins to open, and as soon as you get a glimpse of the Atma, you see that, it's a joy. It's pure joy. When pure joy is even touched upon, even for a moment, you never lose that. You never lose that. The mind has touched that. So it is infused with it, and the devotee continues this way. The devotee is a liberated being, and then one continues, and then that spiritual dimension continues to open further. You see, but the biggest barrier of vasana is destroyed, and the biggest thing to understand in this is the importance of great saints who have realized this, to recognize them, to serve them, to see their state of realization, and then to recognize that, I want that realization for me, that I want that realization, so that's my realization, and then continue in this way. So that's what Maharaj said, Satpurush ne vishay drad priti is Atmadarshan nu sadhan. Atmadarshan, to realize the Atma. Why Satpurush? The gurus who are living in this world, true gurus, they are living here, they are here for the upliftment of the world. They want nothing for themselves. They are the Swaminarayan sadhus have Panchvartman. Nishkam, Nirlobh, Nisvad, Nirman, Nishtay. They have nothing for themselves. They're in a particular organization. They live a very simple, very devout life of contemplation, and they don't even touch money. They don't touch any drugs or anything like that. They follow strict celibacy, 8-fold brahmacharya. You see, so they're tyagi. So their life is of a tremendous type. It's a very glorious life. It's a very beautiful life, filled with tremendous devotion and realization, if they are progressing in the right direction. But that's the whole point. So to make progress in that direction is the key, and not to be stuck inside cyclical, habitual loops that are deeply programmed inside. How do we get rid of all the programming? You cannot get rid of the programming. You have to allow yourself to go into ekantik dharma, to attach to God, Bhagwan, to absorb in God consciousness. When that happens, all these other vasanas and other things will dissipate. And that is a natural, beautiful way of allowing it to dissipate, because it comes with inner awareness, inner wisdom, seeing things as they are. And with that awareness, one has the intelligence to sacrifice the experience one is running after. That ability to sacrifice that experience from the inside, that is called Jnana Yagna. Garada Madhya 8 Vachanamrut. That is called Yog Yagna. Maharaj said, do the yagnas, but which yagnas? Yes, the physical yagnas we can do, but there's also Jnana Yagna, Yoga Yagna. And Jnana Yagna means what? That one is, through wisdom, sacrificing that experience provided by the drugs. by the gambling and by the pornography and by the stealing and excessive shopping. One is sacrificing that experience. One is not suppressing it. One is not indulging in it. One is not running away from it. One is not hating it. One is not doing anything except allowing it to transform. Just as when we offer this ahuti inside the havan, inside the yagna, when we offer different substances, they are all burnt away and transformed into the fire, into fire. So similarly, that all of these experiences that we are seeking through the vasanas, once they are offered into the Gnan Yagna, then the power of Gnana is that it transforms it into pure wisdom. And that wisdom, that is called Gnana, what does it do? That is a protection for bhakti. That is a protector of bhakti. So you see how all this is connected. So we'll continue on this further next time. This is the second recording today. And again, this is 52 minutes long. Thank you very much.